Okay, in this video, the work we're gonna do here is to first let's serve the server project. This is what it looks like. I'm going to do some changes to it to make it looks good. Okay, this is the main.js of that file. Nothing to worry about. Here's the app. At the first, we may not need this component, the header component. We don't need it. You see what? I'll just keep it because I want to leave that component as an example, so I can make another component based on the existing one. Okay, today our mission is to find out how to use the router, how to make a router in Vue.js because before this video, I have never done that job. So I'm going to say Vue router. Of course, we know whatever we want to do at the first. In the first stage, we have to install that package. We need a lot of hope. We pray for God. Oh God, we need a genius to change this world. But you guess what? There's never ever have a genius. The people that really changes this whole world, they are not genius. They are just the people like you and me, but with a little bit different. They are persistent. They are persistent person. They do things, and you do things. What's the difference in that? Because they do things and they never give up. That's the difference. Okay, install successfully. Then we need to use it in the Vue, in this front end framework. It's very easy for you to use a big library. You just have to first import that library, then Vue.use to use that library. The whole process are being handled in the main.js file, just like that. And we can say if the compression still work, and you're gonna say something like this: an error just appeared in my browser. It is said cannot find the module. How about we rerun that again, young serve. Okay, this time it just works fine and good. So where's the wrong thing? Okay, every time when you import a library that used not being installed, you have to restart the serve process. Okay, enough talking. Now let's get to the method of how to use this router library. From the HTML side, you just have to say router link, go to somewhere with the description of that link. It'll be fine. Then from the JavaScript side, you have to define the route component. Then you have to define some routes, the path and the component. The two. There has two different components. Each component only got a template with HTML file codes, which have HTML codes, and you define the path with that component. You give it to a route. Here it is an object, a list, or to be specific, it's a list with two objects, the first one and the second one. With that, you can define the real router with this new Vue router. Then, before you create your application, you have to pass that router to your application. Oh, let's do it from the basic. First, we're gonna change the HTML file that we have. For example, in the app.vue, I'm going to remove the hello world or some kind of crazy thing like that. Yeah, I'm gonna remove it. And after that, after the image, I'm going to define that router. Router link me, find me, and another link. Let's say you. The description is find you. Good. Here we can look at the web page and we find an error. The hello world is not defined. It's defined but never used. Okay, it's in that script. We just have to delete that import statement, and then should work out. At this stage, we only got that image, but it's not true. Actually, we got two components, the router link. I think the main problem for that is we should also copy. No, we don't need to do that. Component matched by a route will render here. Okay, this is a router view. We're going to copy the two. I'll put it in here. Cool. Now we got nothing. Is that right? I don't know. Maybe a parameter tag before that router link. Okay, we still got nothing. I can take it. Now let's go to the JavaScript side. Try to define that thing. It should be in the main.js file. We define the routers. The router gets some paths, then me, and and you. The component, we have to define our own component. So we'll just copy the hello world component and copy it to here. I'm gonna change this the hello world style. So the D with you got me. It's just the text. The name of that component is me. The property, we don't have to define the property. The style, we also don't have to define that style. I'm going to change this name to me. Or some people prefer the capital name. So I'm going to say it like this. Okay, the name equal to capital me. Then I'm going to copy this component and paste it again. In this time, change it to you. And you get yourself. The name of that component should be you. Okay, here I'm going to change that component to something else. Instead of the file, going to give it a string, just like components with me dot view. Okay, done. Let's see how it works. The router is assigned a value but never used. Yes, of course we have to do a little bit more stuff. I'm going to pass that router to the view. So the router should be router. Okay, we got a duplicate k pass in this step. Very interesting. So we have to do this. Now it should be work. Yeah, of course it should be working with nothing to appear. If you view the page source, we are sorry, but the client doesn't work properly without the JavaScript enabled. Please enable it to continue. What? Shit. Let's leave it there. By injecting the router, we get access to it as this with this router, as well as the current router as this router inside any component. Oh, that's good. So you can use it to do some programming stuff. But I'm not worried about that. I was worried about why I cannot use it. Right. Maybe we should add that HTML here. No, it's not working. It's not work like that. So you tell me where goes wrong. You know what? I just got an idea about JavaScript. If you pass the roads just like this, it actually means the roads. This is the right. This is a complete statement. Actually, it is that. But we still got nothing, right? So here's the problem here. I've got a little bit problem about that. So we should, if we want to use that component, we should use this first. We can just call me and you in here with the component name you and me. So the component we could be able to simply add a me and you. Right, here we got it right. Find me and find you. If we collect the find me, you say you get me. If I collect the find you, you say you just get yourself. Okay, that's right. But the thing that seems not right is that we should add at least should somehow split it a little bit. I don't know with what, but what I'm supposed to do here. I don't just try if this work. No. How about this? Good. Here we got two part, find me and find you. It's very clear for you to see that we got two of. So this is how you use the router in the view.js. First, you install that router, then you use it. You import that router, you use it, and you pass that router to your view object. It's actually something like this, okay? And you have to define your router. So how you import your components, you do something like this. Resolve, require, and something like that. I don't know the meaning of that code, but it just works, right? So the router and the routes, you have to define the routes, the path, and the components. And you're gonna define the real router with new view router, and the model will be equal to has the routes equal to routes. And of course, you have to define the HTML code. The HTML code is quite simple, just like that. So that's it. I will see you in the next week.